Hello everyone, Meisterpug here. Today I wanted to show this process for the Ninja Turtles. I'm actually not going to talk too much about this piece, but I wanted to talk about art slumps, which is kind of a place I find myself in currently. For the last, couple weeks, I've been kind of feeling like my style hasn't been expanding. I haven't really been learning or growing. Not even weeks, probably past couple months. So I actually wasn't drawing for a little bit and came back to it. But I feel like I'm starting to kind of get there. I think the more advanced you get, the slower your progression gets. You don't grow by leaps and bounds anymore. You grow little by little. And that's been kind of a hard adjustment for me. And I'm trying to look for ways that I can really start pushing my style. And I kind of wanted to talk about how I deal with those sort of slumps, and sort of I've gone through a number, over my lifetime, and sort of talk about what I do to sort of push myself through them. And not necessarily they haven't all been about, I don't feel my style is expanding. Sometimes I'm just kind of disenfranchised with art, or I think the classic, the first one that every artist runs into when they're young or when they're just starting out is I don't know what to draw. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what you can do to push yourself out of slumps. So the first thing that I would recommend is just try doing something different. And by that, I mean try a different tool. If you're classically drawing with pencil, try drawing in pen. When I was a kid, I used to use Bic pens, those cheap little ball pens, because if you use a light hand, you can sketch with it. And if you press hard, you can get a really thick line. Granted, you're not going to be doing some sort of masterwork probably with them. I'm not going to discount there are probably people out there who do it. But it will, you just using a different tool will make you think differently about the art. You'll learn different skills about how to use your hands, what you're looking for, how to get the best lines. And you don't have to become a master. Try sketching for a day or a couple of days with it, see how it feels, and then go back to your tool of choice. It's just a good way to sort of shake up your brain. And I think a lot of things, when it comes down to it and getting out of a slump, it's sort of shaking up your brain to give it something else so it doesn't feel bored, and when it comes back, it has new material to use. So, for a digital artist, if you're having a slump with digital, and digital can be overwhelming because you have so many brushes and so many tools, I would say try one that you don't normally use. If you usually, like I use Clip Studio and I use a real G pen for most of the lines. Recently, I've started trying to use the design pencil. For this particular one, this Ninja Turtle piece, I did use the real G pen for the final lines, but I actually did all the drafting with their pencil tool instead of using a line tool or a pen tool. I also switched it up so that the color in this, instead of using an oil paint brush, I used a gouache brush, which I think really helped me. And actually, I think I like the gouache brush better than I like the oil paint brush for a lot of things. You could also just, sketch in a sketchbook as opposed to sketching digitally. If you're a streamer, that might be a little bit hard, as it requires an entirely different setup. But on your own time, or spend a little time just relearning those skills and trying something new. Another thing that you can do, and I've done in the past and honestly need to do more of, and it's the boring answer that everybody gives, which is to do studies. If you are in a slump, and this can also solve for just, I don't know what to draw, just do some studies. We should all be doing them anyway. They help us improve. They help us see things that we didn't know were there before. That's actually something I'm going to start doing a bit more to kind of expand my style, get better at what I'm doing, is to just do some more studies. But they're just really good. You'll learn more techniques. You'll learn more about what's there instead of what you think is there. But yeah, I would say definitely studies are a good place to start. Another thing that I do, is this pertains more of I don't know what to draw, is do fan art. We don't all have to be 1000% original all the time. It's okay. There are unbelievable artists out there, looking at you, Dave Greco, who do a lot of their own personal stuff where they come up with their own original characters and their own worlds and things like that. But they also are just amazing artists, and they'll do fan art. Dave is one I mentioned, where he's done a lot of like Final Fantasy fan art. He's done Hearthstone cards and things like that, which you could honestly almost call World of Warcraft fan art, except for their canon in the Hearthstone world. Um, I do Ninja Turtles and well, now Ninja Turtles because my son's really into it, but also Mega Man. I've done lots of Mega Man stuff in the past, but it's really nice because then you don't have to, especially if you're a designer and you're kind of burned out on character design, you don't have to worry about the character design. Somebody's already designed it for you, right? Somebody's already taken the trouble to figure out those characters, their backstory, how their costume plays into that backstory, etc., etc., etc. And as long as you care about the kind of media that you're, referencing, there's at least some sort of spark there. It's a good place where you don't have to design. You can just flow and you can just draw the thing. Maybe draw it a different way. Like I was doing some Viking turtles, right? Teenage Mutant Viking Turtles. So you can take a spin on it if you really want that design aspect, but you can also just kind of sit there and draw it and not think so much about the design. It's basically just to keep you drawing, just to keep doing it. Which kind of brings to the other point, right, is just keep drawing. Even when you're in a funk, right, you're still going to learn something. You may pick up some bad habits. It happens. You'll draw yourself out of them eventually, but just keep at it. You're not going to get any better by not doing the thing. So you do just kind of have to keep at it. Another one that I would recommend, and this may work for some people, it's not going to work for everyone. I think there's a lot of sort of polarization of, sort of the feel-good aspect of art, like posting it online. Is this artist just posting it so that people ooh and awe at it? I won't necessarily knock that. It's okay to want to feel good about your art. And it can be scary, for sure. So if you're kind of in that slump and you feel like nobody cares, sharing your art with your personal friends on social media, or even just having people look at it, people who don't draw at all will typically be impressed that you even tried. And that's not to say that people are dumb or anything like that, but it is impressive to take the time to put together something and then show it. So searching for those feel goods, it's not going to be for everyone. Some people are just going to be terrified of showing their art, and that's valid too, right? It's okay to be afraid of stuff, but if you are looking for those feel goods, don't necessarily feel like you're a bad person for trying to fulfill that. I think it's okay in some ways to want to share and to, want that kind of like positive reinforcement. And then lastly, this is another one that can be good or bad, but looking at other artists, if you look at somebody who's like way out of your skill range, probably not so great, but you can look at artists who are kind of within your skill range. And I think that also can really help. Anyway, this has kind of been my TED Talk, I guess, on working on slumps. Hopefully I get out of mine soon. I wish you all the best, and like, comment, subscribe. Thanks all.